Hungry.
Pro wrestler. Then he thought he got your face.
Hungry. What is it? More fun outdoors. Citizen Compact. Enjoy Citizen Compact TV.
Where'd that come from?
Grid.
So in other words, you can go out and watch the Open while you're playing golf.
I had no say. Is there tape in there, Rick? Rick, is there tape in there?
Uh-huh.
Is there tape in there?
Say it again, Mom.
Is there a tape in there?
I think so.
That shows.
Smile.
Why don't you check it?
No, it's in there.
Huh?
It's in there. Hey, Gary.
Can you get us in there at all?
Yeah.
That's decent light?
Yeah.
You can slide over.
Oh, that's not
Norman,
really nice.
Norman, Point's going.
I'm loving this thing.
Norman, we want you to tell us a little bit about your past.
You want me to tell you about my past? I've been hiding it for 67
It's
years.
time it came out. We need this for posterity.
In front of all my kids?
In front of all your kids. Are you serious? Now, come on, it's all.
Nick,
He
you
was
too?
born.
Well, I was a bad child. We all kind of gathered that. I was a bad child. I had a very strict father who raised us. He didn't even like baseball.
He's talking.
Created a great problem.
He what?
Didn't like baseball.
Speak louder.
That created great problems. And I don't have to talk loud, dude. That should pick it up, shouldn't it, Rick?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
But I had an eventful childhood, playing in school playgrounds, park playgrounds, playing a lot of tennis, a lot of ball.
You can look at me once in a while.
And it was relatively uneventful from the point of view of school. I skipped the 4th grade. I went from the 3rd grade to the 5th grade. And at the time, in the 5th grade, I got my only flunking grade I ever got. Because I got an E in art in the 5th grade. I never forgot that.
An E meant flunk.
An E meant flunk. Yeah.
No wonder you're
In
still
art.
doing diagrams now.
Now I'm a frustrated artist, you're right.
Really?
Yeah, because I had to conquer that.
It's
How
just
long?
for brightness, Gary.
Coffee and cake.
The
Come and get it.
Big slide, switch on the right, turn it down.
But
The
then
big slide, switch on the right, pull it towards you.
That's good background.
I had my
No, perfect.
I had my first date, real date with a girl when I was a junior in high school, very close to the end of my junior year in high school. And she was a very nice girl, and I can remember trying to practice with one of my sisters how to dance before we went to this, quote, first dance that I was going to go to at the roof of the Ten Eyck in Albany. And
The roof of the Tenite, what's that?
well, that was the place.
Is it
It was the name of the place, the Ten Eyck roof. And that was fortunate for me to have a very small dance floor, and the store was so crowded that I don't think this girl knew over the course of the whole evening that I couldn't dance. And so I managed to get by my first um, my first date, actually. And
What was
then
her name?
you may actually get to see her at the reunion. She may come. Her name was Betty Fisher. And nice girl. Very plain, nice girl. Then toward the end of my junior year, and I don't know how this happened, somebody decided that I should run for president of the senior class. And being a very non-political person, I didn't think I really wanted to, but I did anyways. And we had a real campaign. There were 450 students in our class. So we had to go around to all the different homerooms and make speeches and so forth. And it was fun. And I won in an upset. Yeah, really nice. But from what I understand, I got a lot of the women or girl votes. The girls voted for me.
Female vote.
And but less to get the idea that I was very attractive to all these girls, I wasn't. But my principal opponent was a girl. And back in those days, girls didn't like to support girls, you know. So they would rather support me than support the girls. So that got me involved in at least one major activity in the senior year. And then I sort of got caught up with it and got involved in just about every activity of the school. And was running him.
She was what?
Running president. It was just, you know, it was like a chain reaction. But it was fun. And then I went off, applied to school, the University of Michigan. And I chose Michigan because I had, during the senior year in high school, I received the University of Michigan Alumni Award. And not that it amounted to very much, except it did get me interested in the school. So I was
What kind of an alumni award?
Alumni Award. They award it to a student for all-round activities. So that got me interested in the school, and I applied, and I ended up going to Michigan. And
Where were you in high school now? In Albany?
this was in Auburn. And then I went off to Michigan with, I went out about 2 weeks before class started. Had a bus ticket, $75 representing my first semester tuition, and about $15 in addition to that in my pocket. And I went off to college.
Were you on scholarship? Or
No.
where did you go to school?
$75 was the total tuition for an out-of-state student at that time for a full semester. That same tuition now would be in the thousands.
Well, that just
But I went out
goes
there.
to show what a few
I
years
took,
ago.
went out by bus because that was cheapest way to get there. And I
From
went
Michigan
into
to?
town from Albany to Ann Arbor. And got into town, and first thing I did, I took a room at the Y, and then I went and applied for a job at one of the restaurants, local restaurant. They gave me a job working in the kitchen, doing everything. Peeling potatoes, washing dishes, a busboy part of the time, you know, going out, feeding off tables, coming in. For that, they would give me all my meals. But interestingly, the restaurant, of course, didn't figure all this out when I first went out there, but the restaurant was all the way downtown, campus was uptown. So when I'd want to go down for breakfast in the morning, I had to walk, and nobody had any transportation. I had to walk all the way downtown to go have my breakfast and then walk all the way back to the campus. Same thing for lunch. And usually I had to work Sunday lunch, so that was. But and then I got a second job, which was stoking a furnace, and that gave me my room and paid for my room, which was not a fancy room, believe me. It was in the basement. Next to the furnace. Right next to the furnace. And then the best job I got, the third job I got was to
Leave it on, Johnny. A little bit, yeah. Not too long. Down lower.
the third job I got was to pay for my expenses, and that was by applying to the National Youth Administration. You could get a job, and they would pay you 40 cents an hour, and you'd work 30 hours a month. And that gave me a total of $12. And that $12 covered my living expenses for a month. Remember,
See,
my
Leslie, you
food,
should spend
my
less
food
money,
and my
but-
room was paid for. So now I needed something for my laundry, for my dates, things like that. My sister did
What
help
year
me.
is this?
My one
What year is
sister, Evelyn, helped me a little bit. She used to send me about $5 a month, and that was very helpful. This was back in 1937, during the Depression. And but this job in the National Youth Administration, that was the good job, because there my task was to index books in the library of a girls' dormitory, which was as nice a job as you could find. You know, I mean, the only people I saw were all the girls who lived in the dormitory. You know, here I am.
dormitory?
Yeah, and remember Mosier Jordan, the one, the big one that you sort of looked at.
Right on State Street?
Oh, no, over near the Women's Athletic Building, toward the hospital.
Oh, wait.
That big one, the Mosier Jordan
Up on the hill way back
dormitory, on the hill. And, but that was an interesting job. And I met a number of girls there. But the dates were very interesting, because a date, a Coke date, plus maybe 10 cents. You know, I'd meet somebody over at a place right off campus, and we'd have Cokes, and the 2 Cokes would be a nickel each. And you sit in your cab, you know. And some of these little Coke places on State Street, right? You know, like near the bookstores, you know.
State Street or
like along
University.
State Street. And that worked out. Then, if you wanted to go to a dance, the dances were, the union had a dance, the league had a dance, and they would be maybe $1. But then there were a lot of organizations that would put on dances, and they didn't cost anything. So you'd go do a dance with somebody, it didn't cost anything. And then you'd go and you'd have your Coke afterwards, so you take that. Might cost you 10 cents, 15 cents, you had 2 cents. And
Second light on.
you were saying something to me, Judy? Judy, you want to, you said, move it up faster?
she wasn't part of college.
Well, then I met a few girls in college, but none of them were a match of your mother. But I was going pretty steady with this one girl, and then broke up with her, and your mother got me on the rebound. Which is true, right?
Right.
Not really. But I did break up with this other girl, and then I met your mother, and my best friend and I, Bob Green, were out one night, and I used to enjoy going out with Bob because Bob had a car, and nobody else had a car, so he was a good one to go out with. But he started to date your mother before I did, and then I would call her up because I didn't have any money. I would call her up and I'd want to go over and see her and sit in the parlor and talk to her, and she never discouraged me.
Where are you living now?
Albany.
Back in Albany now. This is
And-
after
and-
school?
And your mother was up there living with her sister.
Are you
Birdie.
living with Birdie?
This was after I graduated from university. And but it was sort of in between because the education there was interrupted by the fact that I had a low draft number and was expecting to be called in the Army. And in anticipation of that, I didn't enroll in law school right away. And instead of that, I took a job.
You have to speak up.
I took a job. Louder, I can't speak louder. I took a job and started to pursue your mother during that period, even though she was being courted mainly by my best friend. But then after going out with her a few times, I decided she was going to be the woman I was going to marry, and I told her so, and I also told my friend Bob that I'd like him to disappear because I had very serious intentions, and I wanted to marry the young lady. And I don't know whether it's much of a compliment, really, but he didn't fight too well. I mean, when I gave him the word, that was it. So, anyway, we almost broke up before we got married because I liked onions and Judy didn't like onions. And she used to get very upset if I would eat onions. And so this was a matter of principle. And I said that if I couldn't have onions, that was it. I was going to move to Schenectady, and that would be the end of our relationship. And you have to understand that Schenectady was 12 miles away. Yeah, that's the end. Because in those days, I didn't have a car. And if I went 12 miles away, that could have been the end. So, it was a very delicate period in our relationship. But we finally got things settled, and we agreed to get married. And we got married, actually, about 4 months after reimbursement. And, we got married at Judy's sister's house. And you have seen some of the pictures of the ceremony. And, then about
What were you doing there? Were you working?
I was working at American Locomotive Company in Schenectady. Yes, it was a fill-in kind of job until such time as I got called in the service. But
We were at this point in war. We had people overseas. What year is this?
yeah, this was 1942. The war was already on, and I was waiting to be called. And then, it must have been about in June, I decided to enlist, and I applied for admission to the Navy in what they call the V7 training program, or 90-day wonder training program. And 90 days they're going to make an efficient officer out of you. That's what they used to kid about, the 90-day wonder. And it was interesting that when I applied, I was first turned down. And your mother was with me in New York back at that time. And I was so upset when I got turned down that I remember walking all the way from downtown New York
Whitehall.
down around Church Street, which is near Whitehall, all the way up to Times Square, without even realizing how far I was walking. And Astor, the Hotel Astor, and that's where we were meeting. Well, they turned me down for sort of silly kind of reasons, I thought, anyway. But you have a basis for appeal, so I appealed, and they reversed themselves, and I was accepted in the program. And I went into the Navy then, December 7th, 1942. And left your mother, and left her country. With
You,
brother.
brother.
And I went off to Columbia University for this 90-day training program. Well, after I was there, maybe 30 days, the Navy announced a new program. And the new program was one that would provide special training for supply and dispersant officers of the Navy. But in anticipation that some of these...
Can't hear you.
In anticipation that some of these officers would stay in the regular Navy, they agreed to send us to the Harvard Graduate Business School for a year. And on completion of our tour of duty, we could go back to the second year at Harvard. But we would have to agree to stay in the regular Navy for 2 years after the war. But this
So
was a
that's
new
good.
program.
No, you want that on there. Actually, I think.
This was a new program, and it involved applicants from the various 90-day wonder training program from around the whole country. And so the group that came to Harvard was a very select group. I don't know, it must have been the couple hundred up there, I think. They were all outstanding students, outstanding records, you know, it was really a great group.
Did you end up seeing other of these people in the business world?
And we had the reunion, which a couple of years ago was fun. Then, so I went up to Harvard to this program. When Roger was born, I asked for permission to get leave to come home and visit Judy and see my firstborn son. And they denied me permission to come home. And I remember the fellow who denied me permission. It was a Lieutenant Anderson in the Navy. So I decided I would go anyway. So I went over the hill, as they say in the Navy, and I went to Albany, got around, and so I could see what you looked like. And then
Weren't you really excited when you started looking at
I saw how good looking you were. You were a good looking kid. What happened to you?
That's a long story.
Sorry. Well, anyway, we spent a year up there at Harvard. In
Yeah.
the last 4 months, Judy came up and spent 4 months with us. We took an apartment in Cambridge. You can bring me some over here. I can't believe that's a TV.
Well, I've got her.
Yeah. So now I was in the Navy up at Harvard, and I got on graduation got assigned to a ship in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which was going to be outfitted and then sent to the European theater, namely England, and I guess thereafter to participate in the invasion of the continent. And, what they did, which was interesting, when I got to England, they transferred me off the ship to a British base. And I guess I was one of those officers who they transferred to the base to keep track of all of the records of the ships going into the invasion. So that's where I ended up, on a British base.
What part of England?
That was in Poole, Dorset, southern England. And that was a very interesting experience, and I enjoyed it. Had a lot of contact with the British Navy, and it was a interesting experience.
Why have I all these years been under the impression that you were on a ship like Mr. Roberts in the Pacific?
Well, I was. This was my first tour. It was also an AKA.
Also known as.
An AKA is Auxiliary Attack Cargo. It's a cargo ship that carries 24 landing craft. It has most of them personnel carriers, 16 personnel carriers, and 8 which are essentially tank carriers. And then you'd have your boat crew, and then you'd have whatever people were participating in traditional trips. And but I never